Hi friends, welcome to Bookish Bliss, our virtual book club. Every week we will dig into a section of chapters in our favorite books. Let's get started.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 59 of Bookish Bliss. We have a lot to discuss today.
Yes, this week we are covering chapters 14 to 27 of Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. So you don't have to read the whole book to listen, you just have to be caught up on the chapters we're covering. Amanda, darling, what are you drinking tonight?
I have 2 drinks tonight, Megan.
2?
The wine is back.
You're drinking wine without me?
Yeah, a huge glass too. Can you see
Yes.
how big this is? Joshua. Well, it's not Joshua, it's Josh.
Joshua.
Sauvignon Blanc. Although I did have their Sauvignon Blanc and Pinot
Noir?
Grigio
Or Grigio. Was it white or red?
blend. It was white.
Oh, Grigio, probably.
It was bomb, but I drank it all. And my salsa. This one is a true ginger ale right here.
With the chemicals in it?
No chemicals. Naturally calorie free too.
Nice.
I don't know what that means, naturally calorie free. But okay. Yeah, ginger lime mule.
Ooh.
It's bomb. So I'll be going back and forth. How about you, darling? What are you drinking tonight?
I'm drinking a bubbly.
Yay!
The bubbly's back.
Well, cheers with the bubblies.
Yes, let me just crack it open.
I love that noise.
I know, me too.
Do ASMR next time.
Cheers to episode 59 of Bookish Bliss, almost at 60. And our second episode of Throne of Glass. Cheers.
Yay, cheers.
Just a little update from when we recorded on Saturday. I'm feeling much better. My voice isn't at 100%, but it's not as like
yeah,
as it was.
She's slowly coming back to life.
I can't even tell you, I coughed the entire rest of the day after we recorded on Saturday.
Yeah.
I was
you held it in pretty good while we were recording.
I was so red, I feel like, by the end of the episode, because I was just like in between my chapters, like
I know, and I feel like when I talked for a while and then you went to talk, your voice had to like train itself. I'm like, oh no.
I had to like re-warm up my vocal cords.
Yeah.
Yeah. My boss is like, wow, your voice is still really bad. And I'm like, really? Because this is the best I felt in days and my voice has sounded in days. He's like, no, Meg, it's still really bad. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, it definitely sounds way better today, and I'm so glad you're feeling better.
Yeah. How many times?
I was bored when you were sick.
Yeah. How many times did you think about Throne of Glass today?
Oh my God. Literally like 100 times.
Me too.
I'm obsessed with this book, and I don't know why, but I am.
Yeah.
I love it.
No, I'm just like, I was honestly, I guess I should tell. I'll be honest. I was full on dreading doing Throne of Glass. Like, I really did not want to do it.
No.
But Amanda was super excited about it, and you guys were super excited about it. I literally did a poll, and I was like, whatever the poll says is how fate will be decided. Yeah. And I was like keeping my fingers crossed we were going to do Serpents and the Wings of Night, because it's just not as long or like just like dreading thinking about how long this series is and like how much people love it. I was just so nervous to do it. But now that we're in it, I am like super excited being back in Adarlan and with Selena and Dorian and Kale and just all the things that are to come that you just don't even know yet.
I know. That's what I'm most excited for, but it just is such a good start to the series. So I'm enjoying every second of it. Just another friendly reminder to join our Discord. Megan and I have been trying to be a little bit more active in there, and nobody's talking to us except for Amy yet. Thanks, Amy, for always chipping in.
Yes, if you join our Discord, we'll give out some shout outs at the end of the next episode.
Ooh, we're going to shout some people out?
Yes.
Well, while we're at it, I have my favorite comment today ever.
Yeah.
Fast Magic.
Oh my God, I know. 2 comments on, is Fast Magic coming back?
2?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Fast Magic?
I love that everybody loves Fast Magic as much.
I think people missed it.
I know. I mean, I am a good singer. So
it's been what, since the summer since we sang Fast Magic?
I know.
That's crazy.
I don't know if there is anything magical in this episode.
Kind of.
What?
Well, we see Queen Elena.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That's kind of magical.
Alright, so then I'll sing Fast Magic before that part.
Okay.
I was unprepared, but that comment, like, lit a fire, so I'm gonna do a Fast Magic section in episode 3 and so on, but
Yay.
we'll do an informal one today.
Give the people what they want, Amanda.
Yes, I will. Alright, now let's get started with the good stuff and break down Throne of Glass Part 2. Take it away, Megan.
All right. So we're keeping the same format as we did for last week. Super fun. So I'm evens, Amanda's odds, and we're starting with me tonight. Chapter 14. We are moving and we are grooving. Our new bestie is training morning, noon, and night. Kale is joining us for lunch, but we still haven't seen Princess Nehemia since our first meeting with her. We had a shakeup in the training room when Kale was not present. Everyone was kind of on guard. One of the champions had been murdered.
Murder.
What murder? Oh, TikTok sounds. Who would kill a champion this close to the competition starting? We start to form a friendship with another champion named Nox and even give him some advice on dagger throwing. We end this chapter with a bonding session between Kale and Selena, talking about his friendship with Dorian and how she hurt her right hand. Budding friendship or budding romance?
Interessante question at the end of that summary.
Yes. So, like I said earlier, we're training a lot. The next 4 days, she trained before dawn, whatever, and was using whatever she could to exercise because she knows she is out of shape and she needs to get in shape real quick.
Yeah.
She's really bummed, though, that she hasn't seen Princess Nehemia since their initial meeting because they have a bond. They have similar ways of thinking, and she could be a real ally for Selena in the castle.
Absolutely.
Kale has started coming for lunch every day.
Aww.
And then they joined the other champions for training. She was still keeping her head down, but she did enough to keep Brulo from critiquing her, but also not doing enough for him to be praising her like he was Cain.
Yeah, which is exactly where they want to be, right in the middle.
Well, that's exactly where Kale wants her to be.
True.
She, as we go on through this episode, is really struggling with being mediocre.
Yeah, she does not like it.
No.
She likes being the best.
Yes. The day before the test, she knew something was wrong. Kale hadn't come for breakfast, hadn't come for lunch, and the other guards brought her to the training room. And she's just used to Kale now being by her side 24/7, basically.
Yeah.
Nox inquired to Selena what she thought was going on, and he also finally introduced himself to her. He's been the friendly champion that's kind of been like smiling at her, being a friendly face, so we finally are introduced to him officially. Peller, who's that like little assassin, tells them that Bill Chastain, the Eye Eater, was found dead that morning. He was ripped wide open. His body was in ribbons.
Ugh.
So what the heck kind of thing could do that?
Something magic, maybe?
Something magical?
I mean, it has to be to get through a castle undetected and rip somebody apart.
In ribbons?
Yeah.
Yuck.
Gross. So, that's only the, like, beginning of the body ripping.
We're just getting started. Selena wondered who could have killed the champion so close to the test. Would this start a pattern? Foreshadowing. The champion's murdered, but they still have to move on with this competition, so we're going to continue to train. Selena starts deciding to practice her daggers and throwing that at a target. And Vernon, one of the other champions, started taunting her that circus tricks are not of use when you are the king's champion. She would be better off on her back. So
Vermin.
Disgusting. Also,
oh, his name's Vernon, but I called him Vermin.
Vermin.
He is a vermin.
He is a vermin. But she helps Nox find his stance and gives advice on how he can throw the dagger better to hit his mark. It's nice for her to have kind of an ally in this competition since she has been so secluded and these other gross men are just literally gross and disgusting. It's nice to have Nox, who seems like a somewhat decent human being, on her side.
Exactly.
We learn a little bit more about Knox and his home. He is from the second largest city in Terrasen, and that made her feel some fear and some guilt. It had been 10 years since the King of Adarlan had butchered the royal family of Terrasen, and she had no idea why she brought this up to Knox. She's like, why did I just set myself up for this?
Yeah.
But
she's from Terrasen too, right?
yes.
So they have that in common.
They do have that in common. Maybe that's why they're like kindred spirits. They're from the same
Yeah.
land.
They just found each other.
Yeah. Nox compliments Kale to Selena, saying that she has a great trainer and he wishes that he had a trainer like she did, because he literally has to beg his trainer to like run outside, where Kale's like letting her run outside, do all this training, running with her, and they can see that from inside the castle when they're watching her outside. So I guess she should be more cautious what she's doing, because there are eyes on her, even though she's staying in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, I feel like the eyes are because of Kale too. He is the head of the royal guard,
He's the captain.
Yeah. If that was somebody else's trainer, I'd be looking at them too.
That is true. Nox wants to train with Selena next time. He has gold on Selena winning the whole competition.
Okay, Nox!
But they both hope that neither of them will end up like the Eye Eater. Fingers crossed.
Ugh. Fingers fucking crossed. Although it sounds like he deserved it if he's eating ice.
Yeah, he is a murderer.
He's a murderer who got murdered.
So now we're just jumping ahead. That's what's interesting about these chapters. We're always like, jumping around even within chapters.
I know, which I actually kind of like it because it switches it up and then you don't get bored of like these long ass chapters.
That is very true. So jumping ahead, Kale is now with Selena and he wants to know if all Selena does is read. She's like, what is wrong with that?
Kale would ask me the same question.
Same. But we do get a backstory of Kale and Dorian's friendship and more on Kale's background. Clearly, he's like, can you stop reading? I just like want to talk about myself for like a hot minute. Dorian and Kale met when they were young, and they were the only boys of the same age and same rank at the castle at the time. So they really bonded. When Kale was 13, his father moved him back to his home in Aniel. The citizens of Aniel were warriors from birth and guardians of the wild men of the White Fang Mountains. So basically, his whole family's job was protecting their warriors in the city from people like Cain.
Literally.
Who is from the White Fang Mountains. Kale was slated to be a part of the High Council, just like his father, but Kale missed Rifthold, and so Dorian helped him become the captain of the guard's apprentice, and he gave up his title to come here and do this, and gave his title to his younger brother.
Wow.
There has to be more to this, because that is crazy.
Absolutely. I don't think they would even mention his brother if they weren't gonna talk about him again or show him at some point.
Or like giving up your title, like there has to be more to it than that.
Yeah.
You just missed the Rifthold and you just give up your title of Duke or Lord or whatever it is. I'm sure eventually you would have been back in Rifthold with Dorian. You missed him that much, or was there something else going on?
Very true, Megan.
Selena tells Kale, because they're bonding, that her parents died when she was 8. She was born in Terrasen, and then she became an assassin, and then she went to Endovir, and now she's here. So it's like plain.
She gives just as much details as Kale.
Yeah. Like, well, this is what happened, and I think you already know all of this.
Yeah.
But Kale wanted to know how she got the scar on her right hand. Arabin said that she wasn't as skilled in swordplay with her left hand as she was with her right. So he said that he would break her right hand for her, or she could do it herself. So that night, she slammed her hand on a door frame, and she could only use her left hand for like months.
That's crazy.
So now she's good with both hands.
I mean, I guess the King of Assassins is not going to take it easy on you.
Yeah, he's no joke.
No.
But now it is time to prepare ourselves for the first test.
Indeed, it is time for the first test. Which, after you read ACOTAR and see the craziness of the trials,
yeah,
and then you come here and you're like, oh, the first test is archery. Nobody dies?
What?
Like, we're not at Basgiath, okay?
I know. But it's so funny because technically Throne of Glass was written before ACOTAR. So she upped the ante in her second series.
Yeah, for sure. I just was expecting so much more.
I know, so did I.
Chapter 15. Even though she would never admit it, Selena didn't know what to expect for the first test, and her body ached. But the rules were very simple. 5 targets were scattered at various distances throughout the hall. You get 5 shots, 1 per target. The one with the worst aim goes home.
Easy enough.
Luckily for her, archery was one of her first skills Arabin taught her, a staple of any assassin's training.
Mm-hmm.
Peller barely made any shots. Knox, though, surprised Selena. Kane, of course, got 5 bullseyes, but none of them had been on the black dot in the absolute center.
Mm-hmm.
Selena had to pretend to be mediocre every time she aimed, but she definitely still was hitting her marks.
Yes.
But on target 5, she obliterated the black dot at the absolute center of the farthest target.
Girl!
She's like, okay,
work.
Fuck being mediocre.
Yeah. Mediocre who?
Yeah. And that's when everyone stops laughing. One of the army soldiers, not Paler, ended up being eliminated.
I wonder why that was. Because Paler was clearly the worst, right? At the targets, but it ended up being a soldier.
Not. Yeah. I mean, I think he was the worst out of the people that actually got the descriptions, but
Oh, okay, gotcha.
because it did say whoever had the worst score went home. So if he couldn't have had the worst and stayed.
Yeah, that's true.
What kind of special treatment was that?
Right? Yeah, that's true.
Archery for the first test. Okay.
Check.
Nobody's going to die. No fighting.
Yeah.
I like it.
They're easing them into the competition.
Exactly. They're like, let's just see what you got.
Yeah.
Little by little. Paler barely made any shots. Even Brullo says, didn't anyone ever teach you how to use a bow, boy? They're like taunting him, literally.
His arms are too weak.
Yeah, he doesn't lose. So, apparently he can be taught.
Yeah.
Maybe not as fast as everyone else. But Knox gets 3 bullseyes in the nearest targets and 2 final shots along the border of the inner ring. But Selena's thinking maybe she should consider him as an ally right now because he's got some skill.
Yeah, or some competition.
Yeah. Kane, of course, he fucking gets all 5 bullseyes. Like, stupid.
He's like a Jack Barlow all over again. I'm just
literally
already sick of him.
I know. I'm already sick of him too. He's just so mean too. Like his interaction last episode with Selena just irks me. He didn't get the absolute center though, so
loser.
Loser. When Selena was up, before she started, she says to herself, I am Selena Sardothian, a Darlin's assassin. Talk about manifestation.
Right?
She says, if these men knew who I was, they'd stop laughing. I'm Selena Sardothian. I am going to win. I will not be afraid.
Ooh.
And she fucking hits the bullseye on target 1.
Mm-hmm.
But on target 2, she's like, okay, I can't hit bullseye again. So she aims for the innermost circle.
Yeah, she gets exactly where she's aiming for.
Every single time. Yeah. She hits the border of the bullseye on 3 and the same on 4, but on the opposite side. And then on target 5, she fucking kills it.
Yep.
Gets right in the absolute center on the farthest target. And everyone literally goes silent.
Yeah. She's like, flip, hair flip, toss,
yes. And then it's so silent you could just hear her walking off like la la la. Well, at least Paler doesn't lose at the end.
I know. Why do I have such a soft spot for him? He's literally an assassin that we're not supposed to like. But Knox and Paler right now, I'm like, well, they're not as bad as the other people, so I kind of like them.
Exactly. Like they're not being evil to Selena, so I guess we like them. For now.
Yeah. Chapter 16. We are running again. I could literally never be the King's Champion or an assassin in general. I would hate this much exercise. But we are gearing up for our next test in 4 days. Selena opens up about her scars, but this time the ones on her back. Will we be doing emotional bonding next? Also, one of the discharged soldiers tried to escape during their training session and was killed on sight. Dang.
Exactly what Kale said to Selena with an arrow in the back.
Yes. So Selena and Kale were out for another run. It had been 3 days since their first test and 10 days since she had arrived in Rifthold, and she was still out of shape. Even though she's literally exercising so much, she is still hurting from her year in Endovir. The next test was in 4 days, so she's got to keep working hard. This time, after she's done puking, Kale's like, let's have a little bonding session again. I liked it so much the other day that let's do it again. And this time, I want to know about the scars on your back. And she got them on her first day in Endovir. He's like, well, what did you do to deserve that? And she tells Kale that no one deserves to be whipped like an animal. She had just gotten there, and they dragged her into the center of the camp and gave her 21 lashes on arrival for no reason.
Brutal.
A woman gave her some ointment to help with her pain, but she never got to thank her because 4 of her overseers raped and killed her. So disgusting and so sad. So you can only imagine how much of this is going on in these camps.
Ugh, these fucking guards, they probably love when women come in. They're probably like, yay, next victim.
Yeah, so disgusting. Ugh. Kale wants to know, because now he's very concerned and angry, if Selena had ever been raped. And she tells him no. They were too scared of her after her almost escape.
Well, I guess that's one good thing.
Yeah, no one was fucking with her.
Yeah. Maybe this is why she's so pissed about being mediocre, because she's like, if they don't fear me, they'll get me.
Yeah.
It's like a psychological thing for her.
Yeah, she's like, if I'm not the best, then I'll have a target on my back. Yeah. They'll think that they can mess with me.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. At training, one of the discharged soldiers shoves one of his guards, knocking him onto the ground, and ran towards the door to escape. We don't know what the conversation was, why he was running, what the intention was. All we know is that he knocks his guard to the ground, unconscious, and starts running towards the door. But he can't even make it. He does not escape. An arrow went straight clean through his throat.
Right in the throat.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
All the other champions are just like shocked by this, that they killed a champion. And Nox is like really shaken by this because he received immunity from his sponsor before he came here. And he's like, is that going to happen to me if I try to walk out of this competition when I'm supposed to have immunity? It is kind of scary to think that they could literally just do anything to them at any time.
Yeah.
And so Selena sends up a silent prayer for that soldier.
That is crazy when you think about it. Like, he was given immunity and then asked to do this champion thing. So he could just walk away. Maybe that's why some of them were invited to the ball and some were not.
Well, yeah, we don't know exactly who's there. We just know later that she says that she sees a lot. Or she sees a lot of them there, so she's assuming she's the only one. I doubt Grave is there.
Yeah. Chapter 17, our first Dorian POV. Yay! We meet Dorian's mother, Queen Georgina. She quickly mentions Dorian's brother Holland, who is away at school, but the conversation between Dorian and the queen is mostly about marriage. Princess Nehemia is a contender, but she wouldn't force him to marry her. He's heard the rumors about Princess Nehemia aiding the rebels too, and thinks she was not the best choice.
Yeah.
The queen asks him if he really plans on marrying for love. She says love does not guarantee a successful marriage. But at the end of the day, Dorian was bored with the ladies available to him. He was even bored with the competition. He knew the final duel would have Cain and Selena competing, and until then, he didn't care to bother. Dorian knew he was different, but they didn't seem to notice, all of the other royals. If it wasn't for Kale, he would be lonely. The queen made a list of potential brides for Dorian, and although he is repulsed, he says he'll think about it later. He saw Princess Nehemia and Selena sparring and didn't think this was acceptable at all. Selena told him that she called her, and when she found out Selena was training, she insisted on joining. What was she supposed to do? Dorian doesn't recall her being so talkative, but she said they haven't spent any time together, so he wouldn't. He had to put a stop to the princess and Selena sparring, and he tried, but Princess Nehemia basically told him to piss off. He's tricked into sparring lessons with Princess Nehemia, and I suspect some flirting going on with Selena. Private sparring in her bedroom?
Yeah, they make plans for later.
Indeed. I was like, okay. Let's start with stupid Queen Georgina. This fucking bitch. I already hate her. We
She's
just met her.
just like in her own little world. She has absolutely no idea what the real world is like or what is even going on in this castle.
She's like the one person that likes Caltane that tells you all you need to know.
Yes.
Delusional.
Delusional.
Probably the same as Caltane, actually. Queen Georgina tells Dorian that she received a letter from Holland. She wants him home, but the king won't allow it. And Dorian believes that he's better off his school. So we know he's like a fucking menace.
He's a nightmare.
But yeah. So Dorian's like, no, leave him at school.
Yeah.
Queen Georgina, though, is just obsessed with the idea of Dorian, the crown prince, getting married. He's only 19, but in her eyes, he will never have an heir if he waits any longer. She's so dramatic. 19 years old.
Such different times.
The queen mentioned some potential wives, including Caltane. Even though she's already in cahoots with Duke Parrington, too.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, Queen Georgina, she would prefer a princess anyway.
Yes.
But not this princess that we've met already, Princess Nehemia. She wouldn't dare force Dorian to marry her.
Racist.
She wasn't a fan since she refused to wear the dress the queen made her.
Oh, that's
and
the
of
reason.
Course, there was rumors of her also aiding the rebels as well. But come on.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder why she doesn't want to wear that dress.
Well, Dorian's even like, it's a little hard to come by princesses these days since my dear old dad is taking down every kingdom left and right.
Literally, like, where the fuck are the princesses going to be?
Right.
Not going to be any left.
Yeah.
Dorian is just bored with everything. The ladies, the competition. Like, he does not give a fuck.
He's trapped in his stone and glass castle.
Yeah, he doesn't even feel like he fits in there at all. Like, he just feels so out of place. Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't for Kale, he'd be so lonely.
I know.
The list of potential brides pisses him off, but he doesn't at least rip up the paper in front of his mom.
He's just keeping the peace.
Yeah, he's a good peacekeeper.
Yes.
Fast forward to Nehemia and Selena sparring, and Dorian feels like he needs to put a stop to this. He's like concerned. I don't know who he's more concerned for, though.
Probably Princess Nehemia, maybe? I just don't think he wants either of them in cahoots with each other because there's just so many secrets going on.
Yeah, and they both know Eelway, and he doesn't. Yeah. Or at least not to the extent that Selena and her do. Yeah. Dorian asks Selena to translate that he will escort Princess Nehemia back to her chambers, but instead, Selena tells him that Dorian agrees to be her first sparring partner.
So funny.
She's like, get in the ring, buddy.
Yeah, I'm not going nowhere.
She starts to tease the prince, saying, would you rather spar with me? And he says, yes, in your private chambers tonight.
Ooh.
And she's like, okay, I'll be waiting.
Shoot.
I'm like, okay, honey, what's going to go on in those bed chambers? Let's get there.
This is a very YA book, Amanda.
I know, I hate it. Hate YA.
So funny. I will tell you that maybe the last book is not YA. So.
The last book? I have to wait a fucking year?
Maybe the latter half is like more new adult.
It's okay, because I feel like those ones will get more world building and I'll be happy.
Yeah.
My little nerd world.
Exactly.
Until then, I'm looking for the flirtation vibes.
Yeah, we're just have some tension right now.
Yeah.
Chapter 18. Selena is enjoying herself way too much watching Dorian and Princess Nehemia trying to fence. Our girl is thinking that she wants to kiss Dorian.
Ooh!
But Mr. Grumpy Pants, aka Kale, interrupts everyone's fun and makes them stop fencing and have everyone return to their rooms to be bored and lonely. Boo!
Kale the potty pooper.
Literally. Selena has some choice words for him too. Hate you.
Oh my god.
Such strong words.
I know. She really wanted to kiss Dorian.
Love and hate. So close to each other.
Yep. Fine line.
So Selena is enjoying watching the prince lead Princess Nehemia through the basic stunts of fencing, like I said. I think she's enjoying herself way too much. I can't even, I can just like somewhat picture in my head what this looks like, and it's just hilarious to me.
She's just like wiping the drool off her face.
Yes. She says that she wants to kiss Prince Dorian. Ooh. And she says that she's kissed before a boy named Sam, who was also an assassin, but she lost him over a year ago. That's really sad.
That is sad.
She thought she would never be able to kiss another boy again, but now looking at Dorian,
she's like, heart eyes, I'll kiss you.
Yeah, those striking blue eyes, sapphire eyes, and that dark hair. She's feeling it.
She fancies him.
But Kale shows up and starts pissing everyone off. Literally pisses Celaena off, pisses Dorian off, pisses Princess Nehemia off. Everyone's pissed off now.
Thanks a lot, Kale.
Yeah, everyone was having such a great time until he showed up. He was not pleased to see Dorian and Nehemia sparring. Celaena tells Kale that Dorian volunteered to teach Princess Nehemia how to fight, but Kale doesn't care. He literally just starts yelling at Dorian. Celaena says she wants to keep training because she has another test tomorrow, and Kale's like, too bad. Like, you've been training all day. Go to your rooms.
Yeah.
Celaena thinks Kale is afraid of her, and she tells him basically that he shouldn't be. She doesn't want to go back to Endovir, and she is aware that she will be hunted down for the rest of her life if she runs. Her body is still a wreck, and she needs the extra hours of training, and he shouldn't be punishing her for it.
Yeah, I bet Kale's pretty on edge after one champion tried to escape, so he's like, oh, that's not fucking gonna happen.
Yeah.
He's probably thinking it's gonna start like a chain effect, but he's like, not on my watch.
Yes. She hates sitting around in her rooms bored, and she hates her guards, and she hates him telling her to hold back, and she hates Kale most of all. Kale's like, I don't care. Go back to your room.
This doesn't actually sound like hate, though.
No, it doesn't. He's like, I don't care. Get out. That's how that chapter ends. Kale pissing everyone off.
Chapter 19. We're in Kaltain's POV now, and boy, does she hate Celaena. Hates. Kaltain is speaking to Duke Parrington, who's courting her and introduced her to this world, about Celaena, aka Lady Lillian. She is lying and trying to pry for more information about her, or about Celaena, and finds out she's not on the Queen's eligible bachelorette list.
Ooh.
So Kaltain's like, yes, I got that on her at least.
Yep.
Kaltain was threatened by her and wanted to get Celaena's claws out of the prince. But we shift to a conversation between Kale and Dorian to finish this chapter. Kale sounds like the king talking to Dorian about Celaena and warning him, concerned for his safety. She's still an assassin at the end of the day. But Dorian tells Kale not to tell him what to do. And he thinks that it's Kale who's actually in love with Celaena.
Ooh.
Me too, Dorian. Me too. Dorian knows Kale is getting frustrated, so he switches the subject. He's so nice. He just loves to keep the peace, this guy.
He really does.
They start talking about the dead champion, and Kale says the body was totally destroyed. Innards scooped out, and the brains were even missing. I don't know how, but Dorian is convinced it was a brawl fight. Like, this doesn't sound like a brawl fight at all, but okay, bro.
Yeah.
Whatever you think. At the end of the day, he thinks his father will be happy that the Eye Eater is gone.
That's true. No one's going to miss him.
We're all happy. Yeah. But if they start taking out more of his champions, he's not going to be happy, Dorian. But we'll go back to the start of this chapter now with Kaltain. What a bitch. Crown chasing lion ass schemer. This bitch is.
Yep.
Mouthful, but it's all true.
Bitch, crown chasing lying ass schemer.
That should be a meme. I should be a meme.
I should be a meme.
Kale's concerned about Celaena for Dorian. Kale sees that there's an attraction of some sorts there, and he's just not about it.
Yeah, because he's attracted to her as well.
Exactly. I think there is definitely some jealousy there, but I think also he is doing his job to an extent.
Yeah.
Because he's the crown prince, she's an assassin, there's a competition, there's formalities, and he's captain of the royal guard. So,
blah, blah,
of course, he's got to throw in his boring 2 cents.
He's just on edge all the time. Like, he has no relax button, which I guess what's been going on in the castle lately, and with all these criminals running around, you really can't be relaxed.
Yeah, and everyone's probably turning to him as the captain, too.
Yeah.
So
the king's gone. There's like a lot of responsibility on him.
Yeah. Let's talk about this body and ribbons here.
Yuck.
The innards scooped out, like someone is eating the organs.
Well, they're gone. So they went
and
somewhere.
The brain. And even the face was like ripped off too.
Yum. I just ate dinner, Amanda. It's all gonna come up.
I'm
Disgusting.
sorry. It's in the notes. We have to talk about it.
Sorry, I have to talk about it.
But I know this is not gonna be the only dead champion that we talk about tonight, so I'll just leave it at that for now.
That is true. We have one more. Mad. Actually, is
Yeah,
there
there might be
more?
2. There's at least one more.
There's definitely at least one more. Chapter 20. I guess we were feeling a little bad about telling Kale off, though. I think he does need to lighten up and let everyone enjoy themselves, even though he has a stick up his ass.
He does have a giant stick up his ass.
But since we are already in our feels, Selena decides to play the pianoforte and reminisce about the good old days with her ex-lover Sam, R.I.P. Dorian interrupts her playing and memory lane and teases her about how he never knew she could play so well, and does she actually have a soul? Everyone has a soul, Dorian. Come on. Dorian prods Selena for some information about her relationship with Kale, and he seems to be jealous about Selena's ex until she tells him that he's dead. Way to go, Dorian. Kick her while she's already down.
Fucking men.
Literally. Always sticking their foots in their mouths. Selena is back in her room after the altercation where Kale punishes everyone and sends them to their rooms. And
Mhm.
she is ruminating in her thoughts after her argument with Kale. She was mad at mentioning the vomiting to him, calling him names. And when did she go from feared prisoner in Endovier to a sappy mess?
What happened in Endovier?
Emotions are playing in her head at this.
Yeah,
Like Dorian and Kale are just fucking with her head.
literally.
She should be worrying about the test tomorrow and the dead champion. There are bigger things to be worrying about.
Literally.
She set her own alarm system up in her room though, so she'll know when anyone enters the room. She messed with the hinges so it would make a sound. Selena is now eyeing the pianoforte in her room. She stated that she was better than good, and Arabin used to have her play for him whenever they saw each other. She wondered if Arabin knew if she was out of the mines. Would he even try to free her if he knew? She still wasn't ready to face it if it had been him who had been the one who betrayed her.
Ugh, I feel like he's gonna come back too at some point,
Oh, for
and it's
sure.
not gonna be good.
Yeah, because he's still out there. It's not like he's dead. He's still the
Yeah,
king of assassins.
literally.
She had lost Sam and her freedom within a 2-week time period. So there was this big haze in her thoughts when it came to those days. She
Mhm.
just really doesn't even want to think about the betrayal because she thinks about Sam.
Yeah.
She believes that Sam would have gotten her out of the dungeons after her capture if he had still been alive, and that he had been betrayed as well. His loss still took her breath away.
Aw.
It's so sad. It was
She
her
really loved
first
him.
love, and he died
I know. And they're so young. They're
so
like
young.
children.
But they were
I'm at
I have to imagine they grew up together in the
Yeah.
guild, the Assassins Guild.
Yeah. Well, I guess. How else would they have known each other? Because I feel like Arabin wasn't one to let her socialize like a normal child.
That is very true. She started to play the pianoforte, a mournful piece she had not forgotten, that somewhere between the notes was Sam.
Aw.
No. Well, we jumped to a Dorian POV. He entered Selena's rooms and was now watching her play, which I guess her booby trap of the rooms didn't do a very good job because she has no idea that he's watching her, though she is very in the moment,
Yeah.
playing and sad, and so she did not hear the hinges of the
Feeling her
door.
feels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said he had come to her room to embarrass her, but he found her spilling her secrets into the pianoforte. What a
Ooh.
butthead.
To me, sounds like she was playing something really beautiful. Because when you think of a tortured artist, how beautiful their music is.
Yeah. He's like, whoa, maybe I shouldn't poke fun at her right now.
Yeah.
He definitely startled her, though. He had shown up because they had decided to meet earlier. Remember? They were going to do some sparring in their room.
Ah, indeed.
She thought he was joking, but he's like, I'm the crown prince of Adarlan, and I never joke. Selena is wondering if he should be here, though. He's like, well, I can be wherever I want to be because I am the prince. Remember that? And she's like,
Yeah.
well, I'm a Darlin's assassin. Do you remember that?
You remember?
Dorian tells her that no one who plays like that is just an assassin. She has a soul, which she's like, obviously everyone has a soul. Just because I murdered people doesn't mean that I don't have a soul. Selena tells Dorian that she enjoyed the books, but she is definitely uncomfortable around Dorian, trying to keep her distance. And Dorian is like, wait, am I the assassin in the room the way she's trying to maneuver away from me?
Maybe she's like, if I get too close, I'll jump on him and kiss him.
Yeah. Dorian has jokes for sure.
Yeah.
Dorian asks about training, but she wants to know if Kale gave the order to kill the champion today. Dorian says no, that his father gave the order to kill if anyone tried to run. No running.
So Nox can only lose. He can't leave.
Yeah.
If he loses, then he's free to go. Immunity.
Yes. So that's his immunity. So if he wins, obviously he'll be the king's champion. But if he loses, he has immunity and he's free.
Okay. Got it.
Dorian is very curious about her relationship with Kale. And Selena's like, well, I don't know. He hates me. And no one wants anyone to hate them.
Yeah.
But it's better than being invisible. But she's not lonely as long as she has books to read, which is a lie because she's very bored.
Yeah. She's lonely and hates being mediocre.
Yes. Selena makes it clear that she does not want to be seen as one of Dorian's lovers. He takes offense to this and she orders him to leave her rooms. She says, should we ask Kale how he feels about you being in here?
Oh,
shoot.
She's sassy.
Right? Dorian wants to know how she learned to play and was she remembering a secret lover? I love how he just ignores her.
Yeah. Was he even listening to her? Probably not.
Probably not. Selena tells Dorian that she practiced, and yes, she was actually remembering a lover. She isn't here for Dorian's amusement and to be an adventure from his boring court life. She is already at his father's disposal, and she won't become Dorian's jester.
Ooh.
Burn. Selena does tell Dorian Sam's name and that he died 13 months ago when Dorian asks if her secret lover lived in the castle. He tells her that he's sorry and good luck on her test tomorrow. He then couldn't start thinking about the heart-wrenching music she played.
Aww. He definitely thought she loved Kale.
Yes.
Or maybe Nox. Chapter 21. Test number 2 was just as simple as test number 1. Climb the castle 90 feet to where the golden flag waved and retrieve it. Maybe a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, at least there's some more physical exercise going on in this one.
Exactly. First one to grab it and bring it back down received a pat on the back. The last one loses and goes back to the hole that they came from. One of the champions didn't show up and the guards didn't know where they were. Escape?
Or murder.
She had a moment to study the other competitors. Kane was in the lead, then Grave and Vernon. I just want to call him Vermin.
Yeah.
Nox, and then Peller. Selena heard a shriek, a thump, and then silence. It was Ned Clement, a murderer, who called himself Scythe, that was dead on the ground. Grave had shoved Nox and Selena watched as Grave reached for a weapon to start slicing Nox's rope. Selena knows she should keep going, but something stops her. She's on the move and launches into the void to help Nox.
Ooh.
She's like, not my ally!
Not my only friend!
Test number 2, it does seem a little bit more scary. You know, they got to climb up the side of a wall, 90 feet in the air, grab this flag before anybody else does.
Yep.
Kane is in the lead, of course.
Of course.
They were each given a tool to help them get up the wall, and Selena picks tar to easily grip. Kane picked rope and the easiest path to the flag. Little stinker. Arabin made her stand on the ledge of his assassin's keep for hours to be accustomed to heights, so this is nothing new to her.
Yeah, no.
But when Ned falls, thumps the ground, and is dead, all the champions to be are tangled and frustrated and start to get violent.
Yeah.
I think it just becomes real for all them in this moment. They're like, fuck, we actually could die because nobody died in test 1.
Yeah. No one died during archery.
Yeah, at least during the competition so far. Ned is the first one, so I feel like it finally gets serious for everyone.
Yeah, because everyone before them that have died was killed for running or murdered.
Exactly. Nox is in trouble with Grave, and before he plummets to his death, Selena moves to help. She tells the mercenary, touch this rope and I'll gut you. She secures herself and jumps to Knox.
Mm-hmm.
She's such a good friend.
She's such a good friend.
And she's also like a badass bitch. She's like, you want to touch this rope? I'll fucking gut you.
Chapter 22. We are not only an assassin, court lady, jewel thief extraordinaire, but we are also Supergirl saving Knox from his fall off the building. It will cost her time and making her come in 18th place, but according to Kale, at least she wasn't last.
Yeah, she didn't lose.
She doesn't need to be such a sore loser. She really seems to be struggling with not outshining everyone. That is her bread and butter and where she strives the best. She was taught from Arabin that second place is just the first loser, and she is sick of being in the middle of the pack. We get some additional information on Selena's time with Arabin, and she is having some self doubt. Will she be able to make it to the final four and become the King's champion?
You can do it, Selena. You can do it.
You can do it, honey.
I'm rooting for you, darling.
So funny. Selena's on her rescue mission during the test to stop Knox from falling, and she did it. She caught him,
Yep.
putting herself behind on the climb to the top. Literally, she like catches him like, ugh.
Yeah.
And then Brulo and Kale are like, all right, hurry up, start.
Get up there. Come on.
Let's go. Let's continue.
Yeah, because I think even if someone grabs a flag and wins, they still have to go up to the top, touch, and then come back down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whoever was last is not good.
Exactly.
All the other champions stopped to see her saving act, except Kane, of course.
Of course.
Who grabbed the flag in triumph. So he wins again. How annoying. Selena would have beaten Kane if Kale hadn't asked her to stay in the middle. But if she had gone ahead, then she wouldn't have been able to save Knox. Knox thanks her, but she thinks now it had been foolish to save him.
Yeah, but it shows a little bit more about her character there.
Yeah, I think so.
She cares about her friends.
Yes. So Selena finished the climb before Knox, and the only thing that had saved Knox from elimination had been Ned Clement falling to his death.
R.I.P.
Kale hadn't been overly pleased with her rescue. Apparently, that was not a part of her jewel thief repertoire.
She has to jump from windows and shit.
Yeah.
That could be a jewel thief thing.
Yeah. And she's
maybe not saving someone, but
I know. I think she showed a little too much of her strength by doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And the jewel thief or Supergirl. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like this is not what a jewel thief does. Like I said earlier, she is angry that she lost. That had not been a part of her assassin training. Arabin had told her that second place was just the next title for the first loser.
Yeah. Second place is the worst to get.
It's honestly, I agree. So I'd rather lose than come in second place. I literally, as a coach, was obviously so happy for my kids if they got second place because they're excited. But when I looked at the score sheet once and I lost first place by 0.25, I didn't lose, my team lost. 0.25. I was like, I'd rather have come in last than lost first by 0.25.
Yeah.
Insane. So I can agree with Arabin here. It's Selena. Kale had forgotten that Arabin Hamill, the king of assassins, had trained Selena. How do you just forget that?
No shit. Well, I guess she was telling her life story to Dorian.
Yeah.
Not Kale.
That's true. That's true. Well, no, because she tells Kale that Arabin made her break her own right hand.
Oh, yeah.
This is weird.
Short-term memory loss.
What a boy.
Okay, Dory.
He's literally a boy. He just has selective hearing of what he wants to remember.
Yeah.
Arabin oversaw her training and then brought in tutors from all over the continent. Some included poison masters from the Bogdano jungle and the silent assassins in the Red Desert. So she had a very thorough training from Arabin.
Mm-hmm.
When she was 14, he told her that she would have to pay him back for all of her training.
Could you imagine? Let me break your arm, but now you have to pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, you need to thank me and pay me back for literally saving your life and giving you everything that you have. Sick.
Sick.
Egotistical. manipulated, gaslighting loser.
Loser.
Selena's like, well, this isn't uncommon. Courtesans go through the same experience, taken at a young age and bound to their brothels until they can earn back every coin that went into their training, upkeep, and wardrobe. So crazy.
That's crazy.
She paid Arabin back over 5,000 gold coins, and he went out and spent all of it in 3 hours.
Yep.
He
Shows you what
literally
kind of guy this is.
didn't need that money, just
No.
forced her to pay him back.
Yeah. Probably to keep her in his control longer.
For sure. Yeah. Kale will not apologize for what he said to her yesterday. And then they start teasing each other. And they're like, idiot. Just like their stupid
Idiot.
banter. Later, Philippa tells her that the reason one of the champions hadn't come to the test today was because they had been murdered.
Another murderer.
Another
on the
murder.
loose.
We just don't know the name of this champion that was murdered.
Yeah, he wasn't important enough for us to know.
Yeah.
Just another death on the page.
But good news, Selena keeps passing the tests over the next 2 weeks and started training better. But she starts really contemplating, like, who will the final four be in the final duel? She knew Kane would definitely be there, and she always thought that she would be there too. But now she wasn't so sure anymore if she was being honest with herself.
Aw.
I know.
Well, you can't count your performance when you're pretending to be mediocre.
Right, exactly. Stop being so hard on yourself. You're literally, it's probably harder work to stay in the middle than it would be just to do it normally.
Literally. All right, chapter 23. Kale wakes Selena up from a nightmare where she lost the competition and was back in Endovier, chained and screaming from a whipping. She was screaming so badly that Kale thought she was being murdered. Kale canceled their training today because it was Samhain. Selena is allowed to go to the temple as religious observances shouldn't be denied to anyone, but she is not invited to the feast. It's a silly holiday to celebrate the coming of the winter, but Selena describes it as the day the gods and the dead are closest to the earth. There was another test tomorrow. The last was javelin 3 days ago, and her wrist was still sore from it. We switch to Dorian's POV, and he runs into Princess Nehemia, Selena, and Kale after temple, where his mother bothered him with eligible bachelorettes again. He wanted to go see Selena again since he enjoyed it immensely the first time, but he was so busy with council meetings and court duties this week. He was dealing with things like Duke Parrington presenting a plan to send more forces into Eelway to crush rebels, while Princess Nehemia was there to discourage retaliation. He was, of course, fighting against it. Selena and Kale have a moment. Ooh la la. Nehemia wants Selena to teach her their language as they are really becoming besties. Even though Kale said no, Selena agrees to do it. They saw Kane kneeling on the ground drawing word marks in the dirt. But Nehemia thinks Selena should leave it alone. Such things were forgotten for a reason. Selena admits she doesn't know anything about word marks, but I have a feeling we will be finding out.
I think so too.
Indeed, indeed. We start off the chapter with Selena having a nightmare, and she's woken up by Kale. It seems terrifying and painful.
Sad.
Like she's literally being whipped. Probably talking about it to Kale earlier that day brought it back up in her brain.
Literally.
Literally. Samhain sounds like a religious Halloween to me.
Yeah.
She doesn't plan on attending temple, but she tells Kale she'll worship in her own way. Maybe she will make a sacrifice or two.
He will not find that funny.
No, he does not, but I do.
Yes.
And I also love that Selena loves porridge.
Yes.
But I think she likes sugar a little bit more because she keeps adding spoonfuls.
Yeah. Does she like porridge or does she like sugar?
Probably sugar, like the rest of us, addicted to it. The next test is tomorrow. Before we even talk about the test, let's talk about Duke Parrington and his plans to crush the rebels in Eelway.
Yeah.
Dorian stalled until his father got back, but he wanted to politic a little more in the meantime to get more councilmen on his side.
Yeah.
So Duke Parrington is doing all this bidding for the king while he's God knows where.
Yes.
And of course, Dorian, being the great crown prince that he is, he's trying to stall as much as possible.
He's a great peacekeeper.
Yeah.
Keeps showing up every time we get to another chapter.
Literally. There's more peace to be kept in every chapter.
Yes.
Nehemia was attending the feast and was sad that Selena wasn't.
Mhm.
Selena randomly remembers, too, that Kale gave his title to his brother, Taryn.
Hmm.
They actually have a moment, and she calls him her friend.
Oh my
I'm like,
god.
okay, that's a big step up from trainer, trainer
Yeah.
to friend.
Yeah.
He offers to bring her home a trinket from the feast since she won't be attending. But he's like, friend? And Selena was like, scowling escort? Is that a better description for you? Or reluctant acquaintance if you'd prefer. But
I
I think he likes friend.
Yeah, I think it just took him off guard to hear her call him that.
Yeah, because I feel like she thought he hated her, and I feel like he feels the same way.
But they really like
Love
each
each
other.
other. Love.
Love, not Like.
Yeah. LUV.
Yeah.
Love.
Love.
Nehemia wants Selena to give her language lessons, and she ultimately agrees to this. They just love each other's company. They
Mhm.
can speak together and not feel any judgment from each other. And we know they have this connection like she doesn't have with anybody else in the castle. So, being the good friend Selena is, she agrees to help Nehemia.
Mhm.
And how about Kane drawing these word marks, though?
Suspicious.
Very suspicious. He's just
Mhm.
down on the ground, just drawing in the fucking dirt.
He's a
What are you doing, bro?
fucking weirdo.
And Princess Nehemia knows something about them because she warns Selena.
Yes.
And she tells her that they're part of an ancient religion.
She definitely knows more than she's saying.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Selena even knows this at this point.
Yeah, because she's like, that was suspicious.
Yeah, but Selena being the most observant and best assassin on this continent, she actually recalls seeing 3 different word marks on her way back to her room. So now she's hyper aware and fixated.
On
And
word
we'll find
marks.
out what the fuck these ancient religious symbols mean.
When she has something stuck in her head, she will figure it out.
Exactly. She sounds like me.
Yeah. Chapter 24. This chapter is where things start to get interesting. Selena, bored out of her mind because she wasn't allowed to attend tonight's feast, is just laying in her room when she discovers a secret door in the stone.
Whoa.
She discovered some secret passageways, and in one of them, she found a way out to the sea. She would use this if she ever needed to escape the king. In another tunnel she took, she sees everyone at the feast, even other champions. How rude that she wasn't invited.
Fucking rude.
Then both of her, looking more like love interest boys, Dorian and Kale, show up to her room after the party. Kale kicks Dorian out, but Kale gives her a ring from the party. How cute!
So cute. But what drama that they both show up at the same time.
I know, like, oh, that's embarrassing.
And she's like, choo,
Yeah.
choo, pretending to sleep.
Yeah, she's definitely has to be pretending. Or
Oh,
she's lightly sleeping.
yeah.
Yeah.
She's lightly sleeping, maybe.
Yeah. She's definitely tired, but she's definitely faking.
Yeah, for sure.
But let's bring it back to before Selena finds the secret door. So she is laying in her room at midnight, sulking about because she was not allowed to go to the party. And she's staring at this tapestry on her wall, which she's found intriguing since the first day she got there. There was a woman on the tapestry, life sized and beautiful. She had silver hair and a flowing white gown. She
Mhm.
noticed that the tapestry swayed slightly, but her window was fully shut. The tapestry was blowing outward and not to the side. So she's like, I wonder what's behind here. So she moves the tapestry, is doing a little feeling around, and she finds a door in the slab of stone. And when she opens it up, there's a dark passageway that stood before her.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
You're right, Megan. This is where it gets interesting.
She gathered some supplies because she's like, I'm totally going down this dark passageway. So
Mhm.
she gathers a candle, some extra candles, some yarn, and some makeshift weapons and heads down into the passageway. When she gets to the bottom of the stairs, she reaches 3 portals. Which I was saying to Amanda yesterday when I was like rereading this chapter is like, I think of portals like entering another world when she
Yeah.
just means like, I feel like an archway, which
Yeah.
she does say archways after, but whatever. We'll go with portals.
Yeah.
The ground was covered in dust. No one had been here in a long time.
No footprints in sight.
So when she gets to the bottom of those stairs and those three portals are standing before her, she chooses to go through the middle one because she says, well, just because it was closest.
Yeah.
There were many archways when she went this way, but she decided to keep going straight, heading towards the sound of water. She found like a sewer exit and there were boats, so she would use this to escape if she ever needed to, but not right now.
Yeah.
She knew if she ran now, the king would find her and Kale's job would be in jeopardy. But
Aw.
I think that's interesting. She's not thinking just about herself. I mean, I think she always is
No.
looking out for others,
Yeah.
but now she's starting to look out for Kale, which I think was interesting.
Well, she did call him her friend,
Mhm.
so they're friends.
That's
She's gonna care
true.
about him.
Yeah. So she decides to turn back. She's going to remember this and use it if she ever needs to. But when she gets back to the portals, the one to her right was whispering to her in forgotten languages. So she's like, not tonight. I'm going to go to the left instead.
She's like, "Yeah, I'm not feeling that brave."
Yeah.
Selena,
No.
Sardothian, I am afraid.
Yeah. It's like, not tonight. Not on this holiday where the dead are closer to the
Literally.
earth or
Yeah.
whatever. So she goes to the left and the space keeps getting smaller and smaller. So she had to like duck down and she eventually sees this grate that she can look through and it's the feast going on. She
Mhm.
sees Kale laughing and that made her blush to see him laugh.
Oh.
But there was more than a few champions at the feast and she hadn't been allowed to attend.
Fucked up.
I think that's really ridiculous because they're trying to pass her off as this like lady
Lady.
Lillian
Yeah.
and she's not at this event.
Yeah, where is she saying that she is?
Right. It's weird.
It is weird.
Bad planning on the boys' half.
Well, when
Yeah,
boys are planning anything,
it's true.
can't really expect much.
She also sees Dorian dancing with a blonde who she calls a blonde idiot. But she still wants to kiss Dorian, so she's a little jelly.
Yeah.
She then sees Kale starting to move, so she's like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get back to my rooms before he finds me missing.
That's funny.
We switch to a Dorian POV. He arrives to her room first. He left the feast and went to Selena's rooms, and he was a little tipsy. He opens the door to her bedroom and he finds her fast asleep. Okay.
Mhm.
He was a little unimpressed that she didn't even bother to stir when he opened her door. Dude,
Because she's faking
she, she
it.
knows you're there.
Yeah.
He says that he felt like he knew Selena somehow, that she wouldn't hurt him. She had flirted with him, but he wasn't sure if it was real.
Mm.
Kale shows up. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
And throws Dorian out of Selena's rooms. And both of them are questioning each other, like, what are you doing here? What are you doing here?
What are you doing here? No, what are you doing here?
It's literally like a comedy show. And Selena's like just pretending to sleep, like, oh, there's not two boys fighting over me right now.
Literally. She's loving it. Taking it all in.
But we switch to a Kale POV, and he is still wondering why Dorian had been in Selena's chambers. He didn't understand the rage he felt when he saw Dorian standing there. He said it wasn't jealousy, but it was
Mm,
something beyond that. No,
honey,
it's jealousy
it's jealousy. Nobody gets enraged
for no
when
reason.
for no reason. That's
Yeah,
not jealousy.
yeah.
Come on.
He makes an odd comment though, which I thought this was weird. I don't like it. How he thinks Selena is still a virgin. I'm like,
Yeah.
what does that matter
Literally.
in this moment right now? And both you creeps are just watching her fucking sleep. It's weird. He describes Selena as a sleeping mountain cat or a dragon, having been trained by the king of assassins. But Selena did stir this time when she hears Kale enter the room. He told her that he brought her a present. He went out of his way to grab a party favor that all the court women were being given. And it was a ring that was crafted and had a fingernail sized amethyst embedded in the center.
Mm-hmm.
He scolded Selena for sleeping in her gown, and he knew she wouldn't change in a moment like she said she would. But when she closed her eyes again, he put a blanket on top of her.
Aww.
I know. He says that he felt half tempted to take the ring back, but watching her sleep with it on, he said she looked peaceful, which is
Why did he
interesting.
want to take it back?
He's having regrets about
Regrets.
giving her a present because he doesn't know how he would explain this to Dorian in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
He's
He's
not
gonna have a tough time talking about that.
he's not ready to answer the question himself if he really likes her, never mind having to answer to Dorian.
Yeah, because I feel like he's so conflicted between his career and
Yeah.
his heart
Yes.
for
Exactly.
now. Chapter 25. Selena had a dream she went back through the secret door in her room and into the tunnels. She found a tomb with 2 sarcophagi. She noticed the woman had pointy ears like Faye and realized it was Queen Elena, who was a
Ooh.
half-breed and the first princess of Terrasan, Brennan's daughter, and Gavin's wife, who was the first king of Adarlan.
Mhm.
In this dream, Queen Elena was speaking to her. They were both sent there because someone wants Selena to learn. Someone wants her to see. Something evil lies in this castle.
Mm.
Queen Elena gives her 2 commands: become the king's champion and destroy the evil that echoes in all worlds. The people of Aurelia needed her. The queen gave her something to protect her from harm, and when Selena woke up, a golden amulet was in her hand. Selena cursed herself for it, but she put on the necklace.
Yep.
She would do her best to fulfill the queen's commands. She decided the least she could do was look in the tomb for clues. Then she slipped into an uneasy sleep.
Whoa.
Could you imagine? This fucking dream was just wild.
It wasn't a dream, really.
Yeah, well,
She wandered back down into the
yeah.
secret door.
Oh.
Like unconsciously, like she must have been asleep, but she unconsciously walked down into that tomb because it couldn't have been a dream because the necklace was in her hand.
I was interpreting it like it was all happening, but the queen was showing her in her dreams and gave
Oh,
it to her while she was sleeping.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's cool how we can interpret it differently though.
That's true.
Because I was thinking she's just in her mind and maybe the ghost of her or whatever is in the room with her. But yeah, maybe she did sleepwalk down there. That's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
In this dream slash not dream, Selena finds an ancient tomb in the tunnels that's full of tiny word marks that
Mhm.
form larger ones and then even larger ones.
They're everywhere.
In the tomb are 2 sarcophagi who both wear crowns. The female has a small blue gem in her crown, and there was something written at the feet of the queen. Ah, time's rift. What the fuck does that mean?
It's really weird.
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
Selena notices, though, that the female has pointy ears, and she realizes that there was only one ever queen that was Fae, or half Fae, half human.
Mhm.
So this couple was the first king of Adarlan, Gavin, and his wife, and queen, Brennan's daughter, who we get a mention of that in the first section about that forest.
Mhm.
She was the first princess of Terrasan,
Mhm.
Elena. So they're from the same place.
Mhm.
Selena and Elena.
Yes.
Selena also saw a pile of jewels and weapons in the tomb that included a sword on display next to a suit of gold armor. She knew that sword. It was the legendary sword of Gavin's, who used it to slay the Dark Lord Erawan. Whoever that motherfucker is, I bet you we'll find out eventually.
Yes.
Even after 1,000 years, it hadn't rusted.
Interesting.
Sounds like fast magic.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
Fast magic.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
We're going to call this dream magic because I'm living for it. I love fast magic. Queen Elena appears and starts talking to Selena, which probably freaked her the fuck out.
Yep.
She asks her if she's a ghost. She's not a ghost, but she's not alive either, so she's somewhere in between.
Okay.
Whatever that means.
Yeah.
Sounds like a ghost to me.
Sounds like a ghost to me. Yeah.
Queen Elena tells Selena that she had slipped past the Guardians, who were the 8 gargoyles outside of the clock tower. They guard the portal between their worlds, and the Guardians can't catch them or all will be lost. So she's like, we only have a little bit for us to discuss because the Guardians are going to notice sooner or later.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. She doesn't have much time, but Queen Elena tells her that nothing is a coincidence and everything has a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Selena was meant to come to the castle and meant to be an assassin to learn the skills necessary for survival.
How crazy.
That was probably nuts because at 8 years old, nobody thinks you're meant to be an assassin.
Like
she being
lost her whole family and she was like,
yeah.
And now it's like, this was all just meant to be.
Yeah. A little crazy.
Yeah.
Failing to see the positive in that so far, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
Queen Elena tells Selena she must become the king's champion. The people of Aurelia need her, and she must destroy the evil that dwells in the castle. It's wicked enough to make the stars quake.
Mm.
And they're in different worlds, she mentions, and they can hear the screams of this evil in all these different worlds. So, like, fuck, that's intimidating for Selena that has to slay the evil.
Yeah.
Queen Elena tells her to forget her friendships, forget her debts and oaths. She needs to destroy this evil before it's too late, before a portal is ripped open so wide that there cannot be any undoing it.
Whoa.
Okay, so now we're talking about portals being ripped open. That's a little scary.
Yeah, portals to other
Not
worlds.
portals like these fucking tunnels.
Yes, an actual portal.
Yeah.
When you think about the word portal, it's actually a portal.
Maybe that's what it is. Like it's just not activated.
Oh.
In the tunnels.
I don't know. Honey.
I don't know either. Queen Elena gives her an amulet to protect her from harm. She says someone led them both there tonight because they want Selena to learn and to see this evil for herself. So who the fuck is this someone? Because I need to know.
I know. Who is the someone?
I literally have no guesses at this moment in time, but I will be throwing guesses out there throughout the 8 books.
I will not be throwing out any guesses.
Megan will be going, oh, good guess. I like that.
Wow.
So Selena wakes up from this dream, air quotes, and the amulet was actually in her hand. She noticed that the gold amulet also had a small blue gem on it, just like she saw in the queen's crown on the tomb. She cursed herself because she was so pissed that she's believing that this is actually happening to her. But she puts that fucking thing on. She was freaked out. Well, she was like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm putting this on.
Well, yeah, because in the dream or when she's down there and walking back to her room, she hears these like animal sounds and she runs from it and she makes it back into her room. And then thank God she did because
thank fucking God she did.
Murder happened.
The murder.
That's why I'm like, it had to have been her sleepwalking and it actually happening. She hears the noises from whatever the evil in the castle.
Or is it happening right outside her bedroom door, darling?
Oh, darling.
You're probably right, though. I'm just being facetious. Selena is again worried about her friends, Dorian, Kale, and Nehemia, but she's okay with losing the king, Tane, Parrington, and Caltane. So she's like, if we need sacrifices, I got you.
Yes.
Evil spirit.
I have a list of who you can go after.
Yeah. She's deciding the least she can do is go look in the tomb for herself and see if she can find any clues to what fucking just happened to her.
Yep.
Good luck, honey.
Good luck, honey. Chapter 26. Did she do it? That's the only question Kale wants to know when he bursts into her room the next morning. No, of course she didn't. She's been in her room all night. He should know this because he was in her room in the wee hours of the morning, giving her a ring. She goes back to the tomb from last night, but finds no evidence pointing her to who could be killing the champions or what evil could be lurking inside of the castle. Queen Elena has sent her on a wild quest. Why her? She should be focusing on becoming the King's champion. She does get a glimpse of the murder champion, super gross, and
Mhm.
Dorian ends our chapter again, wondering about Kale's relationship with Selena and why is he just so lonely in his big tower. Poor Crown Prince.
Poor Crown Prince.
But before we talk about Dorian's feelings, let's go to Kale.
Let's start with Cal.
Yes. Kale bursts into Selena's rooms the next morning, questioning her where she was last night. Another champion has been murdered. This time it was the thief Xavier. The test that had been scheduled for today has been canceled due to the murder.
Yeah, they're losing a little too many champions to this mass murderer.
Yeah, they're supposed to be kicking champions out during tests, not because of murder.
Yeah.
Kale is hoping that Selena had nothing to do with the death because the body was half eaten. She's like,
Ugh.
gross.
Yeah, you think I'm a fucking cannibal now?
Like, what?
Cal, get it together.
Come on. Selena made a joke about how it was probably Kane, though Kale says she should watch out who she accuses because Kane is Duke Parrington's champion, but she could care less. She's
What
like,
the fuck does that have to do with
yeah,
anything?
she's like, I'm the Crown Princess champion, so I can say whatever I want.
Yeah.
She also wondered if this had to do with the evil Elena had mentioned. The champions dying now were not a coincidence, it is now a pattern.
Indeed.
She tells Kale she was in her room all night, and she will tell the king the same thing, that Kale can vouch for her too. She still has the ring he gave her last night on her finger.
She's like, I have one witness.
Yes, that'd be you, honey. Selena is thinking she had to have been dreaming last night. So she kicks Kale out of her room. He's like, I got things to do. She's like, I'm going back to bed, but she doesn't actually do that. She is going back to the tomb, but she's like,
Mhm.
I had to have been dreaming last night when it came to the information Elena gave her, but it wasn't. So she made sure all her windows and doors and her makeshift weapons were on her just in case. She went back to the tomb from last night, but there was no information to be found to point her in the right direction of the evil lurking in the castle. She was like, Elena, why did you tell me this? Don't you have better things to be doing in your afterlife? Also, why couldn't you have asked Dorian or Kale or Nohemia? Why me?
There must be a reason. Nothing is a coincidence.
Yes. But since she didn't find anything, she knows she has to get back to her room before someone noticed she was gone. And saying that she was tasked by the first queen of Adarlan to find evil lurking in the castle didn't seem like a great excuse.
Yeah, everyone's gonna think you're fucking mad if you say that.
Yes. She decided that she needed to focus on becoming the king's champion first, and then she would worry about the evil. Maybe.
Well, I mean, Queen Elena did tell her to become the king's champion, so she's not totally
Off her path.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Selena convinced her guard to bring her to the library, and on the way, she sees the half eaten body of Xavier.
Ah,
All of his vital organs had been removed, including his brain, just like that first champion that we heard about.
ugh.
And there were word marks drawn onto the wall or around him. I don't know, but there's word marks there.
Somewhere around him. Yeah.
She couldn't believe Kale had asked her if she had done this. She would have done something quick and clean if it had been her. She was like, if I'm going to kill my competitors, it's going to be like a slit to the throat and I'm out.
Yeah. And she's not gonna leave any evidence.
Yeah.
They're gonna be slit and thrown in a tunnel.
Exactly. Yeah, and her secret door.
Yeah.
Grave shows up at the scene as well, and there was like just like an odd interaction between them. They were both like, "Yeah, too bad," and such a pity. Like,
Yeah.
what? But we jump to a Dorian POV, and he is currently sparring with Kale. He had been out of the game for a while, and Kale is taking full advantage of him not being in shape.
Mhm.
Kale questions Dorian on him visiting Selena in the middle of the night. He's like, I don't do this all the time. I've only done it like one time. And Selena had been less than warm when he had gone. And Kale's like, well, at least one of you seems to have some common sense. Dorian throws it back to Kale, like, why were you there so late? And Kale changes the subject back to court life. He does not answer Dorian about why he was there.
He's like, I can't think of a good enough excuse yet. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna ignore him.
And I'm not gonna tell him that I gave her a ring, so I'm just
Yeah.
gonna change the
The
subject.
truth is not an option.
Yes. They contemplate where the king had gone off to, and Dorian said he hasn't had any word, but he remembers when he was little, his dad leaving like this, but it hasn't happened for some years now. Dorian thinks he must be doing something particularly nasty. So
He does have a lot of illegitimate heirs.
yeah.
But something seems a little bit more fishy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
With all these champion murders and him being gone and no one knows where he is or what he's doing.
And word marks
Everywhere now?
everywhere. Yeah.
Weird. Kale says that he added extra guards to Selena's rooms to keep her in or keep things out. It didn't matter either way to Kale.
Nope.
Dorian knows that he should stay away from Selena, but his mother's list of eligible women, it makes Selena all the more appealing. Stay away from your responsibilities and flirt with the assassin.
Yeah, literally.
But this chapter ends with Dorian feeling lonely in his tower. No eligible women, no assassin.
Aww.
Poor
No eligible women,
Dorian.
no ineligible women.
No women whatsoever.
No fun, no nothing.
What a poor, poor rich prince.
Must be so hard to be privileged and bored all the time. But I'll give him, he is the peacemaker. So,
Yes.
I love Dorian.
Me too.
Chapter 27, in our last chapter for the episode, Selena and Nehemia are on a stroll and they stop at the clock tower to examine the word marks. They start talking about Xavier's murder, and Selena tells her all the disgusting details about the smeared blood and missing organs, including the brain and skin from his face. So this was the one with the skin on the face, maybe not the earlier one.
Yeah.
Kane shows up and spills the beans that he knows exactly who Selena is and taunts her in front of Nehemia. Kale invites Dorian to watch Selena train to show him how lethal she is and why he is, air quotes, protecting him from her. But instead, it has the opposite effect.
Yeah.
He just falls a little harder.
Yeah.
They talk about her standing a chance against Kane and befriending Knox. Selena spends a lot of time in the library researching the word marks and training in insane and intense sessions with Kale. She's frustrated she can't find the answers she's looking for, but stumbles upon a book that gives her the creeps. Because of this, she ends up falling for a trick that Kale plays on her by the end of this chapter.
That was so funny.
He's such a little shit.
He is such a little shit.
Selena and Nehemia are walking around when they come across this clock tower. Selena's staring at the clock tower where the gargoyles were, the guardians, Elena had called them. She also saw the word marks. There were 12 total surrounding the clock tower, but none of the marks were the same at Xavier's murder site. And Nehemia warns her again to leave them be. Selena's thinking about the final duel here and that it was 2 months away. So maybe she's contemplating what time she has left to figure out what this evil is.
Yes.
Selena tells Nehemia the details of Xavier's murder scene, and she mentions that there was blood smeared all over the walls, like not just like splashed, smeared, like someone purposely put it there. Missing organs, including his brain and his face, was ripped off, and the word marks were painted
in blood.
I think. So I feel like that's why it's smeared. I feel like they did something and then smeared it away. Interesting. Selena has an interaction with Kane. He sees her out and about with Nehemia, and he goes right up to her and lets her know that he knows who the fuck she is. He mentions her year in Endovier and calls her the prince's lapdog. And he says all of this in front of Nehemia.
Yep.
Who's trying to protect her by saying they have to go and shows support for Selena, regardless of what Kane said, by grabbing her hand and trying to walk away. But this whole time, Selena's like, oh my God, I hope her language barrier is going to protect me here and she doesn't actually know who I am. But I don't know. I feel like Nehemia is a little bit smarter than we're being led on to believe here.
Oh, she totally knows there's more to Selena. I think she even says that there's more to you than you're letting me know. And like, why would a court lady be training and sparring and doing all that stuff. So
Yeah.
she knows there's something up. She's not dumb.
definitely onto her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kale and Dorian watched as Selena trained. They're discussing if she stands a chance against Kane, and they actually think she might.
Mhm.
But she's unpredictable and wild, which sounds like that could help her to
Yeah,
me.
I know.
They say, though, that she needs to learn how to control her feelings and that impossible anger.
Whoa.
I mean, look at her fucking trauma. Of course she's going to be angry, people.
Yeah, she was betrayed and end up in Endovia for a
Yeah.
year.
Lost her love, was captured, betrayed. Not only did she fucking end up as the king of assassins fucking little trainee with no freedom her whole entire life since she was 8 years old. So, you
Mhm.
know, of course, she got some built up anger there.
Yeah.
Dorian saw that Selena made another friend, Knox, and was helping him. He told Kale he would allow it because he thought she needed an ally, but Kale thought the prince was just jealous.
Mm,
Me too, Kale.
me too.
Nobody else can give her attention except for these two, or they get pissed.
Yeah.
Kale's intentions for bringing Dorian to see Selena train was that he would finally see how lethal she was. But instead, Kale's thinking, oh, fuck, it had the opposite effect. It just made him
Literally.
like her more.
Yes.
Selena is studying anything she can find in the library about the word marks after her training.
Mhm.
She believed that the real threat to deal with was the killer. The more she knew about why and how this he was killing, the better.
Yeah.
She believes there is a connection between the word marks and the murders, but she keeps it to herself for now. Kale had been doing crazy things with her at training, like walking on her hands and juggling blades. It was really intense for her, but I'm like, how does this have anything to do with being the King's champion? I have no idea.
Why walking on your hands? What is that going to
Yeah,
do?
I don't know. Maybe hand-eye coordination with the juggling? I don't know.
Maybe.
Who knows? She was learning about the word marks in the library, and this is what she learns from the books. There were an alphabet of these symbols, no grammar existed with them, and the meaning changed based on how the symbols were arranged and put together. One theory of these word marks suggests that the mother goddess, a spirit from another world, went through a word gate and found Ilaria in need of form and life.
Mm.
There was another theory that suggested that there was civilization when the goddess showed up and they all disappeared, perhaps through the word gate. The gates were both real and invisible things. Humans could not see them, but they could be summoned and accessed through word marks. They opened in both good and in bad realms.
Wow.
I feel like we learned that for a reason. We're going to come into contact with some real bad realms.
I think so too.
Oh, God. The foreshadowing is just everywhere.
Everywhere.
She tells Kale she's studying the word marks out of pure interest when he asks her what the fuck she's up to and
Mhm.
so intensely reading about.
Mhm.
But she knew there was a connection between these marks and the murders and whatever evil Queen Elena needed her to destroy. So she's putting the pieces together here.
Yep.
She shivers when she finds a book titled The Walking Dead that had a picture of a twisted, half-decayed face grinning at her with flesh falling from the bones. This sounds to me like someone that would eat organs.
Yeah. Also, she doesn't remember picking this book off the shelf, so where did it come from?
Yeah, it just shows up in her pile.
Weird.
Kale knew, though, that she was freaked out about whatever she saw and plays a little trick on her where he drags his sword on the floor to make a creepy noise and scare her. And it fucking works. She's
Yeah.
like, you little prick.
Yeah, she's like, fuck you.
And that's where we end this section. Part
Yeah.
2.
Everything's getting a little bit more intense with more murders.
Yes, a
and
little bit more into the word marks.
Queen
and this.
Elena.
Yes, we got a new mission.
The Walking Dead book.
Yeah, what's that all about? There's so much to learn and so much to keep reading about. I'm so excited.
I know, I'm so excited.
But for today, that's all we have for you. Please let us know what you're thinking by leaving us a review and comments on any of the platforms you are listening/watching on or on our social media pages. This helps tremendously to get the word out and lead more listeners to find our show and tune in. And do not forget to join us on our Discord. We're so excited to read Our Infinite Fates by Laura Steven. We're pretty much going to be starting maybe this week, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe this week. I have to read our in-person book club
Yes.
first. But I'm punished until I finish that.
She is. Don't forget to email, follow, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, and tell all your friends about us. And we hope the rest of your day is blissful. Bye!
Thank you so much for listening. Join us next week where we start part 3 of Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, covering chapters 28 through 39. Happy reading!